What's going on, guys? Lon here from Android Authority, and the Axon phone was just announced, but how does it compare to LG's latest flagship? Well, that's what we're about to find out with this quick look of the Axon phone versus the LG G4. When it comes to design, the Axon phone looks like a combination of the HTC One X and the HTC One series that followed it, boasting a premium full metal unibody construction, and the design is further enhanced by a somewhat unique grille design that covers the front-facing speakers and also makes an appearance on the back in between the two lenses of the dual camera system. On the other hand, the LG G4 brings together the best design elements of their last two high-end offerings, the G Flex 2 and the LG G3, culminating into the LG G4 with its subtle curve to the display that is more pronounced when turning over to the back, as well as the signature LG rear button layout. While the design isn't a dramatic departure from the company's norm, what LG tried to do in terms of its uniqueness is seen in the material options available for the rear panel. Available in a plastic backing with a ceramic finish or in a leather with a variety of color options, the LG G4 does have its own way of being a head turner. Both devices feature 5.5-inch displays with dimensions that are quite similar. As such, the handling experience is also similar between the two, with the exception of the Axon phone being slightly taller, although the LG G4 does get some points for easier access to the buttons, courtesy of the unique position on the back, compared to the more standard placement found on the Axon phone. Both these smartphones look great, but it can be argued that the Axon phone provides a more premium feel because of its full metal construction. Either way, design is one department in which both smartphones won't disappoint. As mentioned earlier, both the LG G4 and the Axon phone feature 5.5-inch displays with Quad HD resolution, resulting in a pixel density of 534 ppi. The difference comes in regards to the underlying technologies, with the G4 employing the tried and tested IPS LCD enhanced to what LG calls a quantum display, while the other uses CGS, or continuous grain silicon technology. A big focus with the LG G4 was also on making the display rival the DCI standard found in general television and cinema, with the quantum display hitting 98% of that mark. It is also worth mentioning here that despite the G4 coming with a curved display, the immersive effect available with the more significant curve on the G Flex doesn't entirely make its way over. The LG G4 display may not pop as much as the AMOLEDs of the world, but the color reproduction is certainly very accurate and there are no issues with brightness or viewing angles. On the other hand, the display of the Axon phone looks like it stacks up well to the G4. It's extremely bright, vivid, with great color reproduction and viewing angles, so either way you decide to go here, you're going to come out a winner. Both the LG G4 and the Axon phone are being powered by Snapdragon processors, with the G4 running on the 808 and the 810 on the Axon phone. The Axon phone does get a leg up over the G4 by coming with 4GB of RAM, which is one more than what is available with the G4. Performance with the G4 is absolutely fantastic, and the usually somewhat sluggish LG UI now runs as fast as it's ever been, even if the OS isn't particularly lacking in features or as light as the skin on the Axon phone. The same can pretty much be said about the Axon phone, and in our brief time with the device, performance was snappy and responsive, making the device a pleasure to use, and with 4GB of RAM, the Axon phone is going to be a multitasking beast. Of course, many are still leery about the Snapdragon 810 due to its overheating issues. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see if that has truly been resolved, but so far things seem to be promising. Both smartphones come with 32GB of onboard storage, with the LG G4 offering expansion via microSD up to 128GB, something that isn't possible with the Axon phone. The big plus with the Axon phone is it's the first phone sold in the US with hi-fi audio playback, which can be taken advantage of by even the most inexpensive of earbuds. Both smartphones also pack 3000 mAh batteries, but the G4 comes with the added advantage of the battery being replaceable, giving users the opportunity of carrying around a spare. The battery life with the G4 has been quite impressive, and given the similarities between the two, battery life should hopefully be similar to the G4 or possibly even better on the Axon phone. In the case of the G4, a f1.8 aperture package outshines the competition with a larger sensor over ones found in other flagships. OIS is also enhanced with a wider stabilization range. Color has been given a big focus, with LG adding in a color spectrum sensor found right next to the optics that will analyze the scene to help achieve the right white balance automatically and accurately. The manual mode is another big story, as LG has put in all the big features photographers get in full cameras. A full white balance gamut, a lot of ISO stops, manual focus, a histogram, and even the ability to shoot in RAW and JPEG simultaneously. Overall, the LG G4 camera is one of the best in the business and is certainly a very hard act to follow. The Axon phone features a dual camera setup similar to what HTC did with the One M8, with a 13 megapixel main shooter accompanied by a 2 megapixel sensor to allow for better depth of field shots, faster autofocus, and refocusing of shots after the fact. The camera is also capable of video recording in 4K and comes with twin microphones along with some of the best in noise suppression technology to help eliminate background and wind noise when recording concert videos and voice calls. There is also an 8 megapixel front-facing camera, which is a fantastic choice for all of you selfie lovers out there. In software, the G4 comes with a very familiar user interface that hasn't changed much, but an optimized processing package allows for lag and stutter to be kept at a minimum. Many of LG's features have been retained here, ranging from the useful knock code and multi-window to the not so useful features like Smart Bulletin and Smart Notice. The Axon phone runs a custom version of Android 5.1.1 Lollipop. The user interface is very minimalistic and things look to be very light, which is one of the reasons why performance is as smooth as it is, and the skin manages to keep Google's material design aesthetics intact, like the notification shade and the overview screen, for example, for a much more stock-like experience. Applications like Argus and Rock My Run can also be found pre-installed on the Axon phone to help you achieve a healthier lifestyle. As always guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick comparison of the Axon phone versus the LG G4, and the Axon phone looks to be doing some really great things, especially for the price point, and there's no doubt that this phone is going to be able to hold its own against the major ball players, but only time will tell how well it really stacks up. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and keep it locked here on Android Authority for the rest of our coverage, and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on our future videos, because we are your source for all things Android.